So, I just watched Spider-Man Into the... It's so good, you guys! Sorry, I was so excited I couldn't even finish the title. So, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is the new animated Spider-Man movie. It is not in continuity with any of the other Spider-Man movies that are going on, like the Avengers Marvel stuff, so don't worry about that. This is in an alternate dimension, and our lead character is Miles Morales, voiced by Shameik Moore. Think I'm saying that correctly? I hope I am. Oh well. And he is a young, half-black, half-Hispanic kid who is going to like this boarding school where he doesn't quite feel like he fits in, he doesn't like it, and so he kind of sneaks out at night and visits his uncle, played by Mahershala Ali, and the two of them go down and like graffiti tag these tunnels, and while there he gets bit by a spider, and very quickly starts developing the typical spider powers, can stick to walls, doesn't know how to control it. He meets Spider-Man, but then Spider-Man very quickly dies, and so Miles is left alone to try and figure this out for himself, but then suddenly Spider-Man from another universe, voiced by Jake Johnson, shows up, and now he has this kind of mentor, but this Spider-Man is kind of a broken, emotionally damaged version of Spider-Man where he just doesn't care anymore, he doesn't like himself. It is so funny with that. The dynamic between the two is great. You get this kind of enthusiastic but kind of worried kid in Miles, and this jaded, doesn't really want to do this anymore Spider-Man in Peter, and the two of them just play off each other really well. And then along the way, they also meet my girl, Spider-Gwen. Sorry, I love Spider-Gwen a lot. She is played by Haley Steinfeld, and she is Gwen Stacy from another universe who got bitten by the spider instead of Peter. And she is a very fun, different kind of spider person. And then, as time goes on, they then also meet more spider people. There's Spider-Man Noir, who's played by Nicolas Cage. There's Penny Parker and her robot, SPDR, she's voiced by Kimiko Glenn. And then there is everyone's favourite, the Sporktacular Spider-Ham, played by John Mulaney. And this whole team of spider people, they are all unique and interesting. Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Ham, and Penny Parker all have unique animation styles that are different to the rest of them. But the animation in this is so good. It brings a comic book to life in a way that no other movie has ever quite done. It looks like nothing I have ever seen, and it is spectacular the whole way through. Particularly as you get into the climax, which I won't spoil what's going on there. But suffice it to say, there is some of the most visually inventive imagery I have seen in any animated movie. It comes at you thick and fast, it is fun, uplifting, it is incredibly cool. I really want this movie to do well because I had such a great time at it, and I think this might be my favourite superhero movie of the year. In a year that also had Infinity War and Black Panther and Teen Titans Go to the movies. I mean, this is genuinely something special. And they do use the different animations for the different people to kind of say that they're from another universe. Like Spider-Ham is particularly cartoony, like a Looney Tunes character. Penny Parker, she looks like she's from an anime, and to the point where when she talks, her lip flaps don't match up to what she's saying because she's dubbed in. And Spider-Man Noir is always in black and white, and there's always wind blowing his coat around, and it's great. I mean, every single line out of Nicolas Cage's mouth as Spider-Man Noir is so funny. This is the second animated movie this year to use Nicolas Cage in a superhero role, and it's just why has this not been a thing until now? Let this be a thing in every animated superhero movie. Henceforth, every animated superhero movie must contain Nicolas Cage. That is the rule. The way that they move while they're using the power, so when they're swinging or when they're climbing up walls, they each kind of do it in their own way. Miles particularly is, throughout most of the movie, he is very kind of cautious and doesn't know how to do it, and so he keeps getting stuck to things and not being able to get himself out of it. Peters is very much just kind of walking around lazy. He's putting in minimal effort because he doesn't care anymore. Spider-Gwen, she's a bit more showy and cool. And just the whole thing works on this visual level. And you get some really great designs as well, like the design of the Kingpin, who is the main villain of this. He's like absolutely enormous, and he's got this little head, and it just looks really interesting. And he's voiced by Liev Schreiber, who's doing a great job. And then, as well as that, Catherine Hahn plays someone in this movie. I won't give away who she is, but because it's actually a pretty cool reveal when you find out. But she is genuinely really cool, and it's always great to see Catherine Hahn in things. I like her a lot. Yeah, so I guess I don't really have too much to say about this movie in terms of like specifics, because I don't want to give much away, because it is a genuinely really good movie that plays into all its concepts well. I have read the Spider-Verse comic that this is kind of based on. This is, like, you don't need to read that to get any kind of idea of this, other than the premise of multiple spider people from multiple universes, and that's a good thing because that comic is kind of depressing, whereas this is fun. This is more going for the Miles Morales origin story from the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, which I haven't read that, but I understand that this is basically nothing like that either. It's just kind of an amalgamated version of the two that picks the best things and makes something better. And I'm all for that. I want my Spider-Man movie to be good. I'm not the biggest Spider-Man fan. Spider-Gwen has really grown on me, as you can see. But Spider-Man himself, I've always enjoyed him, but I've never been like one where I will track down Spider-Man comics and I will go and look for them. But I think Miles Morales is a more interesting Spider-Man than Peter Parker, purely because pretty much everything that can be done with Peter Parker has been done, whereas Miles, there's still a lot of fresh, new stories to tell. I mean, just look at how many Peter Parker movies we've had in like the last 10 years or so, since, when was it, Spider-Man 1 came out, 2004? It'll be up there when it came out. And since then, we've had 6 Spider-Man solo movies of varying degrees of quality, and he's been into the Avengers films. So I'm glad we're getting something new out of Spider-Man. There is still Peter Parker in this movie, but he is not the focus. He is kind of second main character. Basically, I have said all I think I can say without gushing into spoilers and talking about individual things that are so cool. But it is a genuine joy, this movie. There are kind of moments where you can tell that scenes have been like pared down to make sure that they work effectively. Like some of the editing is a bit frenetic. There's a few bits where it's just kind of like it feels like there's like a few frames missing here and there. It doesn't really affect the flow of the scenes, but it can be noticeable if you look for that kind of thing. But overall, it doesn't harm the movie in any way, because it really does just feel like they're cutting it down to make it as slick and smooth and fast as possible so that more jokes can come out and then more heartfelt moments can come out. This is the movie that you should go see right now. There's a bunch of other movies out, but please support this movie because I want to see sequels to this. I want to see the Spider-Gwen spin-off they're talking about. I want so much from this series. I think this series can be so great. Please go see this movie. Also, can we just so this hoodie, right? This is a women's hoodie. They only sold it in women's hoodies, and this is an extra large, and it is tiny. So for comparison, just give me 1 second. Okay, for comparison, this is the Wolverine hoodie that I wear in quite a few of my videos. This is my new Spider-Gwen hoodie, and just look at the size difference. Okay, so the smaller one, the considerably smaller one, this one, is an extra large. This one is a large in men's sizes. What the hell is up with sizing options in women's clothes? I know I'm a man, so of course a woman's hoodie isn't really going to fit me, but I feel like this would barely fit a child. This is nonsense. It's nonsense. Like, this does not feel like it should be considered extra large. That's all I'm trying to say here. I don't know, maybe I should cut this bit. Thank you so much for watching this video about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's a really good movie, go check it out. If you'd like to subscribe to me, click on the link up here, and if you'd like to watch more videos by me, there'll be a couple over here. Genuinely, this hoodie is tiny. Look at this. This is the extra large size. I know women bigger than me who couldn't wear this.